Hi guys, this is lesson 8.3, multiplying binomials. The review section has us reviewing words such as product and integers. Remember that products are the answer you get after multiplying. Integers are whole numbers, their opposites, and zero. And we'll talk about acronyms in a second. Go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and answer questions 1 through 3. Alright, you should have crossed off the division and addition problems because products are only the result of multiplying. And for problem 2, 12 times 4 is 48. And for problem 3, 12 times x squared is 12x squared. Alright, acronyms are things that help us to remember a group of words. We're going to be using an acronym later in this lesson called FOIL, and I'll talk to you about that when we get there. Go ahead and do the use your vocabulary number 4. Pause the video. Okay, your worksheet should look something like this. I think this would have been more fun with some text abbreviations that you guys are familiar with, but this is what we were given, so hopefully you had a little fun with this. Okay, so for problem 1, we're going to be using the distributive property, but notice something different here. Normally, you're used to distributing a monomial across a binomial or trinomial, but here we have two binomials. So I'm going to show you how to use the distributive property here. First, we're going to distribute the 2x there, and we're going to distribute the 4x here and here. Alright, so 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times negative 7 is negative 14x. So we've distributed the 2. Now we'll distribute the 4. 4 times 3x is 12x. I'm going to put it right here underneath the like term. And 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And the reason I lined those up is because I need to combine them. And for me, it's easier to combine them if they are vertical than if they are horizontal. So negative 14x plus 12x is negative 2x. Everything else stays the same. And we are done. Go ahead and pause the video and try problem 1 below. Okay, your answer should look something like this. My stylus, I can't write as small as I need to make this fit, so I did draw some arrows. In this first spot, you should have 4x plus 3. In the next spot, you should have 4x plus 3. Then 4x squared plus 3x minus 6, and then inside here, 4x plus 3. And then we have 4x squared plus 3x minus 24x minus 18. Then we combine our like terms to get that negative 21x. Ultimately, your answer should look like this. If you chose to do it vertically like I did up here, instead of horizontally like they wanted you to here, that's totally fine. I highly recommend working vertically instead of horizontally for combining your like terms. And then on the reasoning, we would get the same answer. I could not fit my explanation here, but it's because addition and multiplication are commutative. Some students prefer to use a table rather than doing things vertically like I just showed. So if we were to take x minus 3 times 4x minus 5, we could write the x minus 3 over here. Notice we treat x minus 3 the same as we would x plus negative 3. That way we get things straight. And then 4x minus 5 is the same thing as 4x plus negative 5. In each of these little boxes here, I'm just going to put what I would get if I multiplied them. So this box, this first upper left box is what do we get if we multiply 4x times x? And we end up with 4x squared. If we did negative 5 times x, we get negative 5x. If we did 4x times negative 3, we get negative 12x. Sorry about the handwriting here. And then negative 5 times negative 3 is 15. Green probably was not my best choice, I'm sorry. So notice that 4x squared minus 5x minus 12x plus 15, and then when we combine these two like terms, those are the only ones we can add together because they're the only ones that are alike, we get that negative 16x right there. So our final answer is 4x squared minus 17x plus 15. If you like the table better, this is a great way for you to be able to do this. Go ahead and pause the video and do problem 2. Alright, in the end you should have ended up with 3x squared plus 13x plus 4. This next method uses an acronym, and because of that it tends to be the one that students remember the easiest. It isn't necessarily the easiest method, but it is the easiest one to remember, and it's no more work than the other methods are. It's called FOIL, and the F stands for the first term in each set of parentheses. So the first term, the term that comes first, so the 5x and the 2x. So we do 5x times 2x, and we get 10x squared. The O stands for the outsides. So that would be the, let me switch colors here. That would be the 5x's on the outside of that and that. So we end up with 5x times 1, which equals 5x. And then I, let's pick a good color for I. This looks like an I color. I stands for the insides, so negative 3 and 2x, which would give us negative 6x. And then coming in last is L for the last term of each, so negative 3 and positive 1. So negative 3 times 1 equals negative 3. And then we go ahead and combine our like terms. There are only 10x squareds, so we go ahead and keep those. But notice these two here are like terms. So positive 5x plus negative 6x gives me negative 1x, which I can write just like this, and then minus 3, and that's my answer. Go ahead and pause the video and try foiling for problem 3. Alright, you should have ended up with 3x squared plus 2x minus 8. Actually, yes, that's correct. Okay, and then on the reasoning section it asks, how would these differ? There are several ways you can think about how to answer this, but notice this minus sign here is what's really going to change things. So in this first problem, we're going to end up with the middle term being smaller and the last term being negative. This one, the middle term will be bigger and the last term will be positive. And by middle term, I mean that one right there. Because on this one, you're going to end up with positive 2x, but this one you're going to end up with a positive 10x. And then on this one, your last number would be negative 8, but on this one it'll end up being positive 8. So any type of explanation in there is fine. Alright, look in your books at problem 4. We're given a cylinder with a radius of x plus 1 and a height of x plus 4. And we need to find its surface area. So we're going to use the formula 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. So that means we're going to do 2 pi times our radius squared, so x plus 1 times x plus 1. Don't write it like x plus 1 squared, because it's too tempting to try to distribute this exponent, but you can't do that because there's addition in the center. So you're much safer writing it this way. Alright, and then we'll say plus 2 pi, and then our radius times our height. And here I'm just going to go ahead and use foiling. Okay, so my 2 pi is going to come down, and then I'm going to FOIL this guy. So first times first is x squared, and then outside, so x times 1, so plus x. Inside is plus x. I'm going to work vertically here because I prefer that way. And then last is 1 times 1. And then this guy over here, first times first is x squared. Outside times outside is 4x. Inside times inside is 1x. And last times last is 4. Okay, so I'm going to bring down the 2 pi. And I'm going to combine like terms. So I have x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then I'm going to bring down that 2 pi. And I have x squared plus 5x plus 4. And now I need to distribute the 2 pi here, 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 and here, here, and here. So I'm going to move over here. So 2 pi x squared plus 4 pi x plus 2 pi is my first one. And since I have to combine like terms when I'm done, I'm going to line up things under like terms. So here I have 2 pi x squared. So I'm going to put that right here, 2 pi x squared. And then I have 10 pi x. So I'm going to put that right there because that has a pi x. And then I have 8 pi. By lining up all my like terms vertically, it's easier for me to decide how to combine them. I don't have to search for them in the middle of. I would like to go ahead and talk about your answers to the worksheet question in class. So let's move on to number 5. For number 5, we can just go ahead and use the distributive property. The book works vertically on this one, but I actually like to work horizontally here. And I write my smaller of the two terms first, and then the larger second. And by smaller and larger, I mean the number of terms. And then I just go ahead and distribute like we did on a previous example. So 2x times 3x squared is 6x to the third. 2x times x is 2x squared. And then 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Then I'm going to distribute here. So that's negative 21x squared. I'm going to distribute here, negative 7x. Distribute here, and I get positive 35. Add them all up, and I get 6x cubed minus 19x squared minus 17x plus 35. Go ahead and pause the video and give problem 5 a try. Okay, hopefully you got 2x cubed minus 9x squared plus 11x. Go ahead and work on the lesson check and write me a list of questions that you have, and we will go over them in class. See you soon.